What's up, guys? It's your girl Larissa D, and we are here to talk about all things UGC. Don't mind my house, by the way. I just moved and crap is everywhere. If you know, you know. If you are wondering or asking yourself, should I try UGC? Am I fit for UGC? Is UGC for me? Wouldn't you just want to see? Okay, I'm done. If you are wondering how to get into UGC, we're gonna talk about just a high overview of what it is, what resources you can tap into, what are the benefits, and how to advocate for yourself when it comes to compensation, because baby, we need to get paid, okay? It's 2025, and we've been in a recession for 25 years. So let's get into it. Can we acknowledge how beautiful Sophie is right now? Yes. I am a model, actress, and voiceover artist and host. It's a lot going on, I know, but I've been doing it for over a decade now, and I moved to Los Angeles just a year ago. I have definitely been growing a lot, and God's been challenging me so much. Oh my gosh. One big thing that I got into this year that I also prayed for and manifested, I can't talk, is to get more into user-generated content, or UGC. A lot of people still don't know what UGC stands for. That is what it stands for, and it's basically you as a creator creating ads for brands. Not for this airplane to be loud. Can y'all hear that? Yeah, so it's basically an easier way for creators to work with brands to work with creators to spread the mission, spread their products, and in a more authentic way. A lot of consumers resonate a little bit more with real people, nothing fabricated, that is using the product, that's trying the product in the comfort of their home. So that's kind of the purpose of UGC. And there's so many opportunities, and there's so many different brands that's actually taking advantage of that method of marketing. So if you are thinking if this is only for specific types of people, models, actors, you've got that all wrong. Anyone can do it. It's so inclusive. So I totally encourage that you dive in. Okay. One thing that I always say, whether someone's wanting to start modeling, or in this case, UGC, you have to be intentional. Like, what kinds of UGC do you want to do? Is it beauty? Is it wellness? Is it house products and you have a beautiful home and you can work with Wayfair, right? It helps you to be a little bit more intentional about the types of brands you want to work with. And then also, what's your goal? Is it to make money? Is it to get your face out there more? Or is it to simply like get hella free product, because you will? And what is it that you want to do with that? So just take a moment to think about your intentionality at diving into this, and maybe it's literally not that deep and you just want to try it. That is okay too. And then let's talk about some resources. I probably do at least 2 UGCs a week, so that's giving like 2, 4, 6, maybe 4 to 8 ads a month. They could be for new clients, they could be for existing clients. So I've done work for lots of brands, to name a few: for Charlotte Tilbury, Blake Brown Beauty, HelloFresh, Sugar Baby Care, Everyday Dose, EcoWise. Typically, when you're getting started, you kind of sign up for these different resources and rosters, and then they'll just keep you in the creator program. And if they feel like you're like a good fit for something, or if they feel that they're curious to know if you're actually interested, they'll just reach out to you. Once you get your foot in the door, the blessings just start to pour in. Keep on getting this freaking spam call, y'all. Block. Anyways, back to the resources though. The way that I kind of got started was a couple different ways simultaneously. The first is, I'm a big believer in Backstage. I'm a Backstage girly, y'all. I get like all my jobs from Backstage. That's a combination of all the commercials that I do, all the photo shoots that I do. Also, Casting Networks is obviously a good one, and Actors Access, which is typically going to be more on the acting side of things. So I don't do tons of UGC work through Actors Access. access, but Backstage is probably where I get the most. You can sign up for different platforms like that. Sign up for Backstage. There are different UK-based platforms that do a lot of UGC that I am a part of, one being UGC Shop, and I'm gonna link everything for you as well, but just so that you have that, let's see what else. Oh, Newbook is probably a really good resource that you can take advantage of. That is more on the modeling side, but a lot of models need to be versatile. So if you are a model or an actress, I always recommend getting into some UGC because it does challenge you as well. If you are wanting to practice different scripts and authentic deliveries, I think that's the one thing that I appreciate the most about UGC. Yeah, so those are a couple of resources, pretty nice and simple, and then make your own. When I first started out, I literally bought like 4 different NYX lipstick colors from Target, and then I was like, you know what, I wanna create my own UGC, and they might share it, but who cares? I want to do this for myself. And guess what, that literally attracted a brand that reached out to me called Lagome, who literally changed my skin, and it's a Korean skincare brand. And from there, it was just a ripple effect. If the door is not opening for you as you're applying to these different UGC opportunities on the platforms, open your own doors. Okay, let's also talk about some recording tips. Typically, you can literally record on your iPhone, and or if you have a camera like this, typically I only use like my Sony a6700 if I'm doing like a really big one. For example, I use this for HelloFresh, and I knew that I wanted that content to be pretty legit. Or, you know, Charlotte Tilbury, I use this camera as well because I'm trying to continue to elevate the quality of my personal UGC videos because my face is out there. I just want to let y'all know, y'all faces are out there. Your face is a part of the brand because that's what you sign up for. So you want to, again, be really intentional about what kinds of UGCs you're doing, what's the messaging of the brand, and how comfortable you look on camera. There's a couple times when I look back, I'm like, dang girl, you should have did your hair. And I'm like, you know what, they're just running the promo ad, and it's fine. You definitely want to be authentic, so just being yourself. Usually they'll have different scripts for you to deliver, and most times if I don't feel like memorizing the script, I will use the teleprompter app to help me run through it. But again, trying to deliver it in a seamless way that doesn't look like I'm reading, which takes practice, and I promise you'll get there. Or if there's like little hooks, I typically like to deliver the same hook maybe 2 or 3 times in a row to give the client a variety. So for example, say we're talking about this Sony camera and the line is, you will never believe this Sony camera is so fire. My version 1 would be like, I would probably think of it in a more excitement, like, you guys, you will never believe this Sony camera is fire. Delivery 2 would be a little bit more of a matter of fact. You guys, you will never believe this Sony camera is fire. It's so funny seeing myself do this, but just giving yourself some options when you're recording, because that also reduces the amount of time you have to re-record, to be honest. I don't like re-recording. So when you give them the client options, it reduces the chances of you having to go back and refilm content, which cannot be fun depending on what they're looking for. Which brings me to point number 3. You definitely want to make sure that you're reading the brief. That's going to make it easier and make it faster. Just triple check that you are saying the right words right, or putting that in your teleprompter right. You have the right setting. So maybe they're like, okay, sit on this suitcase to show the audience how strong the suitcase is, but we actually want you to do that outside. I literally made that mistake, and I did it inside my house. And then I re-looked at the brief and it said on concrete. I'm like, oh crap. So it took like an additional 15-20 minutes that I could have saved, right? So pay attention to those details. Always film in natural light, baby. We should know this by now. It's 2025, but no, it is understated because we work or we have different jobs, or maybe there's deadlines that we are really close to and we're like, I just need to get this knocked out. I promise, be patient. If you are running out of time and or you're past the deadline but you ran out of natural light, it is okay to communicate that to the client, because the last thing that you want is, one, to have to re-record anything, and two, to have bad content or have a bad rap for the content that you're delivering, and the client may not choose to work with you again. So just be honest. And this was me like 2 months ago. Hey, I apologize. I know that the deadline was today. I literally ran out of sunlight, and I know that natural light is important to you. Is it okay if I get everything to you by tomorrow early afternoon? Most times they will say yes, because they want natural light too. But natural light is obviously going to show more of your features. It's going to just look better in camera. It's super small, but make sure that you wipe your camera, y'all. I recorded a whole video once and it literally was like so blurry, and I realized I did not wipe my camera. Now lastly, let's talk about some rates, because I know this can be the tricky part about when you're starting something. How much do you charge? How much do you set it for? Etc. I know that when I start anything, I'm a little bit more flexible, because I know that I have to start somewhere, and I will continue to work my way up to the top of what I envision as far as compensation. So like I mentioned, I did a video just on my own, which is zero compensation, knowing and trusting that will attract me work. Then I ended up running into UGC shop, where the budgets aren't super high, but it's good enough to start with. And so I started just overall in the journey working for brands between $50 to $75. And then a lot of the ones on Backstage typically charge between $150 to $250. So the more that I got into it and the better I got at the craft of UGC, nowadays I'm like minimum $250, but it's typically a little bit higher than that as well. And so if you kind of do the math and you're strategic with this, if you think about maybe if you worked for a corporation and you take that minimum wage of, okay, how much did you make at this job for your day? And typically that is what I would use for my daily rate when I did work for corporate. Or you can say, I'm okay with starting at $100. However, this is the amount of work that you're willing to do for $100, because there are a lot of times where I do honestly feel like the amount of work for a UGC that's $75 compared to $1,200, for example, is the same amount of work. It just all depends on the brand and their budget. I think this would be a really good thing for you to just brainstorm. How much are you willing to get paid for, and the amount of work that you are willing to do for that payment. If you are just diving into this and you did work corporate, take time to brainstorm what were you making at your corporate job to establish potentially your day rate. So maybe one UGC is $250, but then another brand wants you to also do content for them for $250. And then if you end up doing both of them in the same day, technically that's $500 in one day. So you can be really creative with how you do this, but honestly, you don't want to settle. You know your worth. And if you don't know your worth, it's okay to say no. There are times where brands reach out to me all the time and I'm like, no, I'm not interested in this brand, nor am I interested in doing work for a brand that I'm not interested in for a low budget, knowing what I can bring to the table. So it's okay to be confident in that. Rates, it's so tricky, but it all depends on the brand, because I've seen people get paid like $5,000 for the same amount of work that they would do for something for $100. Or one of my highest paying ones was like, wow, you know, and once you get to that level where you get exposed and you get selected to do a UGC ad for a brand that's willing to pay, you will never kind of look back, you know what I'm saying? But you have to start somewhere. So being flexible, knowing your worth, and then having fun. Because baby, This is what you came for. Well, I sure do hope that this was helpful. We talked about some UGC. We talked about what it is, what you can do with it, how you can gain some tips for recording and what your rates could look like. If you want more of a deeper dive and a more audio version, I do have the episode on my modeling and wellbeing podcast. I think it's like 35 or something like that, but it was again earlier in January of 2025. Make sure you like, subscribe, do your thing. I'm here for you. It's your girl again, Larissa D. I love you all. Thanks for watching. XOXO. Bye.